To me, the globe is getting smaller, and things that we used to think of were happening far away and wasn't our concern. Today, we find ourselves in closer working relationships with many different people. We have to have a global perspective. What I want to do is make this a better place, not only for people in America that are still struggling to be equal citizens, but for people all over the world.
In his 26th term as a U.S. Representative, John Conyers Jr. is the longest-serving member in Congress right now. Making America a better place is something he's been doing since 1965. He became involved in government after watching his father, who helped organize the United Automobile Workers when there wasn't a union in Detroit.
He used to take me around to all of the meetings, marches, rallies that went on. It made me develop a political conscience around workers who weren't able to negotiate the terms of their wages or salaries, pensions, and that got me interested in public service.
In his decades of service, Congressman Conyers has been a major proponent of more than 100 pieces of legislation. He introduced the first bill in Congress to make Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday a holiday, a man he worked and marched with. And he submitted the United States Health Care Act in 2003. He also was the driving force behind the original Voting Rights Act in 1965, a bill he is extremely proud of.
To make real the promise of democracy is to make sure that everybody's participating equally in it. When we came along, there were great pockets of areas in the country where the right to vote was not open to everyone. Sort of got down to the fact that there were two schools of thought in this democracy. One, you make voting difficult and complicated as you can, and the other is that you make voting as open to everybody and as easy to participate as you can. And so we've seen gradual developments in the latter instance.
Congressman Conyers also blazed a trail for African Americans in government when he helped create the Congressional Black Caucus in 1971. It was founded to strengthen African American lawmakers' ability to address the legislative concerns of Black and minority citizens. But creating a group to influence change meant changing the mindset of his colleagues.
There were only a few members of color in the Congress when I got there. One of the great members was Adam Clayton Powell from New York. I mentioned to him that, we ought to form a group of African American members of Congress, Mr. Powell, so that we can get our issues and voices heard. He turned to me and he said, "What for?" He said, "I represent the leadership of the Black members of Congress. We don't need to do that." We did anyway.
At the time, there were 13 members that made up the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, there's 44 members, influencing change throughout the United States.
To me, it's summed up in terms of jobs, of justice, and peace, but also to fight discrimination.
And Congressman Conyers continues to focus his efforts on promoting economic development in Southeast Michigan, fighting for equal justice, and the protection of the civil rights for all Americans.
It's trying to bring into a democracy some equality, opportunity, and voice. If you're in a democratic system that's studied and praised all over the world, but yet the people on the bottom are cut out of the process, we have a lot of work to do. I want to be remembered as one who worked for fairness and justice for all, not only in America, but around the world.
For charting his own path and leading our community, we salute Honorable John Conyers Jr. a distinguished warrior.